There you go. Japan, in cooperation with the United States, imposing really strict economic sanctions to Russia invading in Ukraine, wants other Southeast Asian countries to come into line together to reinforce economic sanction against Russia together. But Japan aims for effective sanction to close the loopholes of sanction by forming a tag team together with other Southeast Asian countries. However, there are some countries in East Asia that have strong tie with Russia traditionally. So Southeast Asian countries' movement to sanction against Russia is not really active, so that it is not really easy to form an anti-Russia sanction and anti-Russia encirclement with other East Asian countries that Japan envisions. So the Japanese government and the Philippine governments has held a defense and foreign affairs ministerial meeting for the first time in Tokyo on 9th April. And in a joint statement, both of the governments had an indication that there was violation of international law in the war between Ukraine and Russia, but they refrained from pointing a finger at Russia, and they didn't mention a clear sanction measure against Russia. So there are not few countries having really strong tie with Russia and East Asia. And Laos and Vietnam are known as socialist countries having a really deep relationship with Russia. And resolution of suspension of eligibility for member country of the Human Rights Council was adopted in the emergency session of the United Nations, but Vietnam and Laos objected it. So even seeing the whole East Asian countries, there is atmosphere of hesitation and an indecisive attitude towards the sanction measure against Russia. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs of each ASEAN countries demand ceasefire in a statement on 3rd March, but they really wanted to avoid the clear, direct mention to Russia about the sanction. So the only the country that stepped into economic sanction against Russia is the Singapore. So the Prime Minister Fumio Kishida didn't point finger to Russia, although he demanded withdrawal of troops from Ukraine and immediate stop of exercise of force in the joint statements announced after the conference with Hun Sen, the Prime Minister of Cambodia. So I think Southeast Asian countries are not really strong enough to make clear announcements, make a direct announcement about economic sanction against Russia. So I think they still have hesitation to impose sanctions to Russia one-sidedly without resolution of the United Nations Security Council. So, but Japan really wants to appeal to ASEAN countries to close the loopholes of sanction against Russia. So this is what Japan think of right now.